All right, hello guys. How's it going? We're getting into the severe weather. We saw a lot of severe weather yesterday. We're going to see a lot more of it today and even the next few days. And then we're going to break down the long range pattern. Yesterday's live stream went really well. Here's some clips of that.
That right there is a tornado likely. And we've seen this move just to the northeast. We can see this heading straight towards Jacksonboro. So if you're in Jacksonboro, you're going to want to take cover here. Lots of rotation. Look at that, guys. That is intense rotation. That cell, the way it just formed right there just gave me absolute goosebumps. This one right here gives me a very odd feeling, like a sixth sense, guys. Tornado warning.
And we're going to be diving right back into the action today, so be sure to tune in for that. I'm going to leave a link in the description and in the pinned comment below where you can check that out. Now we're taking a look at our current radar imagery, and as you can see, there is a little bit of storminess. Let me switch this from black to yellow here, actually, because it's going to be easier to see. But there is a bit of storminess up here in the northwest, but a ton of storminess up here in the central United States. We see a lot of these thunderstorms continuing through the day today, especially on this front of the storm. The low is somewhere in between all of this. We see some rain and snowfall, probably colder rain, and then some snowfall happening here in the plains. And this is where a lot of the colder weather type precipitation is happening, and likely not thunderstorms. But it's mostly on this front, and quite frankly, it's mostly on this area down here where we're seeing the most thunderstorm type activity. So currently, we do see these showers happening in here, very, very light showers actually, happening in the northwest. It's been a while since we've had some quieter weather. Some of these showers are making their way into eastern Montana here. Some very light showers there. As we take a look at the northern United States, we do see, again, this colder weather type precipitation happening in here. Either a very cold rain or some snowfall like we see there in Kansas and Nebraska. And even for northern Minnesota and the upper peninsula of Michigan there. As we work our way a little bit further south, there's some heavier rainfall happening in the Ohio Valley and even down through portions of the deeper south here in Arkansas, Oklahoma, even portions of Texas. Likely not thunderstorms for this region, though. So we are seeing this heavier rainfall that could lead towards some flooding throughout the day today. Now, we also see these thunderstorms continuing here in Texas, Louisiana, mostly just Texas and Louisiana, actually. And our biggest threat is going to be later on today for this region in here. This is really where we're concerned about for the highest risk of that severe weather. So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to break down that severe weather risk. We're going to go on a high-resolution, short-range model and just take a look at that severe weather risk. We'll take a look at the severe weather days, and then we're going to break down the long-range pattern. And as far as it pertains today, we're going to start to see these storms moving in actually pretty early on. This is our main region we're concerned about in here. And already there's going to be some thunderstorms in the general area in just a couple of hours. This would be approximately 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. time frame here for Louisiana and Mississippi. As we continue this on further, we can see the storms get even worse as we approach about 1 or 2 p.m. here. This main line of thunderstorms we are concerned about, it's these ones out ahead that could become supercells, and you can't really rule out these ones becoming embedded supercells either, so there's lots of different things that can take place. The one thing that stands true is that the environment is highly capable of producing tornadic supercells, so any of these storms that move through could potentially become storms like that. And also wind damage is going to be a huge threat as this linear storm mode takes over here. So we see this line of thunderstorms from the Gulf Coast here all the way up into Tennessee, Arkansas, Missouri, up there. So this stretches all the way up and down there. That is going to potentially bring some straight line wind damage with it that we have to watch out for. And then throughout the day, and this is towards about 12 a.m. tonight, heading into tomorrow, and we can see these storms have fully moved into areas like Mississippi still, but even Alabama and the panhandle of Florida and kind of central Tennessee as well. Now, some of the parameters that are going to come with this, I want to just talk about this. Let's talk about the Cape real quick, because this is interesting. We're talking about things that could potentially hold this system back. And the Storm Prediction Center has highlighted the fact that we're only getting to about 2,000 Cape. Convective available potential energy, that is. And basically, this is thunderstorm food. So the more of this available, the more these storms can just grow stronger and stronger and stronger and eat up this Cape and use it to grow. Compared to yesterday, we had about 3,000 to 4,000 Cape. Today, we're going to have about 1,500 to 2,500. So there's a big difference there. We have about half as much Cape as we had yesterday. And whether that will play a large role today is kind of just something we're going to have to find out after the fact, because sometimes in these low cape type situations, it doesn't really matter. And then sometimes it really, really does matter. So we're just going to have to see if this does play a role. If anything, this is a little bit promising that this could hold some things back. Now, the thing is, there will be very, very high shear. Okay, so these areas are kind of marginal with the shear. This is our kind of medium amounts of shear. But back here where we have these pinks and almost reddish colors, dark red, that is where we have very high shear. And this is what creates those wind-driven type severe weather impacts and even tornadoes when we have these high amounts of shear in the area. And we certainly do, especially on the back end here. So tornadoes are going to be a huge threat today, regardless of how strong these storms get. We're going to be mostly watching for damaging wind and then those tornadoes that could come with these storms. I frankly think 2,000 to 2,500 Cape is going to be plenty, and I really don't think it's going to make too much of a difference whether you have 2,500 or 4,000 Cape, but I hope I'm wrong moving forward throughout the day today. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Storm Prediction Center real quick. So here's the day one categorical outlook. We have a general thunderstorm risk there in the lighter green. We can see another one over here, and this is where we expect general thunderstorms. Really, no severe weather is expected. It's, of course, possible anywhere, but that's not where it is expected. We do have a marginal risk of severe weather here for Missouri, and then obviously surrounding our largest threat down here. And that's where isolated severe weather is expected to potentially take place in there, but not widespread by any means. That's the darker green region. Now, our yellow region is our slight risk, and that's where scattered severe weather should start to take place in there. Orange region is where widespread severe weather should start to take place. Bad storms throughout that entire region can be expected. There's probably a better chance than not that you're going to see some bad thunderstorms where you're at if you're in the orange region. It should be that widespread. As that line of thunderstorms comes through, it's going to be unavoidable, basically. Now, this red region here is our moderate risk, which is basically, on the scale of things, the second worst that you can possibly see. High-risk severe weather events are reserved for the absolute worst of the worst severe weather events. They do not throw those things around like they're nothing. They're very, very conservative with issuing those high-risk severe weather events. So moderate severe weather events oftentimes end up being a lot worse than moderate would make it seem, just like yesterday. So Louisiana, Mississippi, and a bit of Alabama there, especially, just please pay attention, as this moderate risk of severe weather means there's a very high risk of severe weather, actually, in other words. So we're going to be watching for very widespread severe weather. Damaging wind is the biggest threat, but also tornadoes and hail could be also really impactful throughout the day today. Now, the individual outlooks here, damaging wind, like I said, very high risk here. In our two green areas there, we have a 5% chance of damaging wind within 25 miles of a given location. The yellow region here, we have a 15% chance. Red region is going to be a 30% chance. And then the purple region there is going to be a 45% chance of seeing damaging wind within 25 miles of a given location. So basically, there's a 50-50 shot that within 20 miles of your house, there will be a damaging wind severe weather impact, which is just insane to think about. Those percentages are absolutely out of control, crazy. Here's the hail, a little bit more conservative here, but still fairly high. The wind just makes it seem not that bad in comparison, but this is also very high. 5% chance within 25 miles of a given location there within the two green regions, 15% chance there in the yellow, and then a 30% chance there within the red of hail. Now, tornadoes here, things are equally bad here. 2% chance within 25 miles of a given location there within the green. Browns will be 5% chance. The yellow will be 10% chance, and the red will be 15% chance of tornadoes. That's very, very high, obviously. And that hatched region that you can see there for Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, that is where EF2 or higher tornadoes seem to be a good possibility today. So very large and damaging tornadoes, just like yesterday, are going to be a possibility today. So please heed all of those watches, warnings, and advisories you get from the National Weather Service and the Storm Prediction Center, as today could be very dangerous, just like yesterday. And it probably will be very dangerous, unfortunately. Here's the day two categorical outlook. Thankfully, no enhanced or moderate risk for day two. We do have a general thunderstorm risk here in the lighter green. The darker green will be a marginal risk there, and then our slight risk area here, yellow, where we expect kind of scattered severe weather to be possible. And then the day three outlook here, we do have a general thunderstorm risk here in the lighter green, and then a marginal risk of severe weather here in the darker green, where again, isolated severe weather could happen, but sometimes it doesn't. But really, severe weather is possible anywhere, regardless, but this is just the areas that we're seeing pointed out here. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the long-range pattern. So here's the European model. We're basically moving to where this severe weather is moving out on the East Coast. This will be about Thursday, March 24th. Let's continue on with this because after this storm is said and done, we get this deep dive of this cold air in the eastern United States here. So we're watching this cold air really dive in. The warm air is shoving its way back west, and really this is not sufficient for severe weather. This is really not ideal at all for severe weather to take place. So we're going to have to watch this pattern, see if it sticks around, and when this pattern could potentially change, because usually when we see a breakaway from this pattern to where it flips, we usually see a strong severe weather event featured with that switch. So we'll continue this on. Really cold pattern in the east. I know it's surprising with how nice it's been, but that looks to be the case. Then here's something interesting. We get a low pressure system diving in as some warm air makes its way in briefly. We have a cold front here, warm front here, obviously. And potentially, I would say some severe weather for the southeast associated with this system. This would be Wednesday, March 30th, so the very tail end of March. There we get a bit of a system there. And then we try to get some systems here in the south. But generally, the jet stream is doing like this. Very, very odd jet stream pattern. Still a trough in the east by the time we're reaching April 1st, and that is not a joke. A huge ridge here entering into the western United States, but we do have a trough trying to make its way into the northwest. And what could happen is this storm here could dive down and really pull this cold air in, which would cause this cold air to kind of fill in that gap, which would allow the warm air to move east, and that's usually how we see these patterns flip. But really, we're going to have to work our way closer. So throughout the video tomorrow, the next day, we're going to learn more and more and more about this long-range pattern. So be sure to tune in. We're going to kind of discover a lot together here about the long-range pattern, and I can't wait to do it with you guys. Anyway, for today's confidence tab, we're at a 4 out of 6, just like always, guys. I told you guys I wouldn't switch that up for a while, and we've been doing a 4 out of 6 for about a few months now, but I promise you there will be a day where I'll finally downgrade or upgrade from this point. For today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting this channel, but especially our platinum patrons, Bill Craich, James Wade, Dovin Nagel, Lure the Pan, Mandy Birchfield, Patrick Strickland, Dave Scott, and Donna Carnes as well. I would also like to thank our diamond patrons, Bill Roberts, Marcus Connolly, Noah Harley, Michael Kodalesa, Catbite, Charles Stinnett, Bill Dallas, Gary's, and John Khaleesi also. I would also like to thank our channel members, Catbite, Stephen Fan, and Jeremy Cox as well. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. I'll see you guys in the next video.